turn down the radio.
I can't hear it.
Okay.
No. All right. Did you get the notification?
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Yeah, I did. Yep, I got it.
Yeah, here in a minute. We're on the YouTube right now. I'll get it here in a second. Got some people in. Oh boy. Timmy, have you? Yeah, I got Mr. Peanut Butter on with me tonight. You should have never made that comment.
Oh boy. Oh God, here we go.
You should have never made that comment about peanut butter. Now they're gonna take it to you. That's your thing now.
Yeah, they probably are. I'm probably screwed up now.
Oh, same old thing, Albert. Yeah, I mean it's been off and on here. It's been like 70 degrees a day, and then it's been like in the 40s. So it's either or, back and forth. And then today, it's been raining all day here. So I've been getting as much videos as I can. Trying something new, as you guys have been seeing. Uploading a video every day. I've been pushing myself. What a lot of you guys don't know is I pretty much upload a video not only on YouTube, but I upload videos pretty much almost daily on Facebook on different airgun pages. Just taking snips and clips of videos that I've done and post on YouTube. But tonight we wanted to get on here. I got Tyler from Ajax Outdoors. We're sitting here just shooting it up and decided to go live. I haven't been on a live stream in a while. And I know last time I was on one, or I had one, if you guys don't remember, they terminated it because I showed off. I can't remember what it was. It was an air gun, but I can't remember which one it was. But I had to start it over again because everybody wondered what happened. YouTube cut me out.
Yeah, I was coming back from up north that day. That's when you said, "Oh, you want to join me?" I said, "I'm on my way back down."
Yeah. What's going on, Angelo?
Man, you got the whole crowd coming in. Well, Ajax over here has got an ATM that works now. Watch out.
Oh boy. Watch out, you joined the ATN fanboy club.
Yeah, I just don't get how people sit there and tell you, how mean and this is for everybody to listen to, on these Facebook pages that me and you are following, and how they don't believe that we have to hold for win. And
Yeah.
it's funny. It cracks me up to hear that.
Yeah. Well, not only that, a lot of you guys seen in the recent video I just uploaded today, my target was swaying in the wind, and I still hit the playing cards at 100 yards back to back.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like, I just don't get it.
Like I said, though, I mean, it truly comes down to the tune of the gun. If your gun is not tuned, you wouldn't know.
Yep.
There's a million other things than the wind that are affecting your pellet if they're not shooting good.
Yeah. I mean, I could deal with the pellet drift, but people claim it as being the wind, but it's technically the pellet drift.
Yeah, and something's out of alignment.
Yep.
Barrels pointing left or right. That's what gets me too, is watching these videos of these guys shooting, and then they claim the wind, but the pellets go in the opposite direction of the wind. How's the wind blowing it to the opposite direction? And you watch it in the side shot.
Well, yeah, because like the other day when I did the Bulldog review of the Lucky 7 versus the 81s, I even said in the video through the side shot that actually the groups were to the right, I believe, in the side shot, but they were to the left in my view or whatever, opposite. And I said that's what happens with the side shots is it makes it look like it's actually going one direction, but it's the opposite. When your naked eye is looking through that side shot, you're seeing it the right way, but that camera is
reflecting it.
Yeah.
It's seeing it. It's mirroring the image. Actually, it's making it look like it's incorrect, and that's why. That's why, you know, if you're out hunting in the woods and stuff, in the hard stuff, you shoot a squirrel, you don't know exactly what tree you hit it out of if you go back and check the footage.
Yeah, you're like, what?
Yeah, that branch wasn't there. There's so many times I've used the side shot, which don't get me wrong, it's a great piece of equipment, but it really throws you off if it doesn't record the right direction.
Yep.
What's going on, Mike? We're just sitting here shooting the crap. I figured I'd get back on. I know Tyler's been wearing you guys out with the live streams.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, the side shot's not a bad device though, you know, for videos and. But yeah, it's just.
Well, see, what they need to do is come out with the side shot 2.0 that corrects the image, and all they have to do is put a mirror in it. Yep. And the reason why I know that is because I built one. You remember that? I built one where it corrected the image.
Yep.
But they won't, because all they did was put a piece of glass in it at a 45-degree angle, and it reflects the image through the scope.
Yeah, because last night I did show a little bit about the side shot, and I showed the people, you know, through your naked eye when you're looking through it, and then it's got to go through all this different glass.
Your objective lens, your Richter tube, your all that.
Yep, and then it reflects back to your camera.
And then you have a lens that you have to look through to see the scope.
Yeah, so you're technically looking through two lenses. You're looking through the lens through the side shot, and then the lens through your scope.
Well, there's two lenses on the side shot. There's a round piece of glass that you look through, and then there's the bent glass that reflects the image, and then you got all your lenses in your scope. That's what I'm saying. You got to look through all the different lenses, and then that's why when you look, you know, at your camera or whatever, if you're using a smartphone or a GoPro or something like that, the image really isn't that great unless you get it edited, because it needs a lot of light. Little trick is, I don't know if you've done it before, is put your flash on.
I'll have to try that.
Remember, I told you about that a while back. I don't do it all the time, but if you put your flash on, you get the clearest image. And you have to have a really, good seal, obviously, so no light gets through.
Yeah, because the recent videos I've been running through the side shot with like the testing videos, I'm running on the 4K and 60 frames. Because my phone is capable of HD at 30 frames. Or you could run 4K, 60, or 30 frames. I've been running the 60 frames, 4K.
Mike tried turning it down to get better because you reflecting all that image. Like your quality you were sending me is good through Messenger, but Messenger it doesn't give you the highest quality possible.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess around with it a little bit more. I'm gonna find the right image.
Albert, I've used the Tacticam a lot. Yeah, I've heard about the Tacticam. I just never used one. I know there's some other brands out there too that I've never used. It's just at the time when I wanted to get like scope footage, everybody's like, "Oh, you need to shoot through your scope," which I kind of not really use it that much anymore now that I've used it so much. But I at the time I had an extra smartphone that works perfect for it, but I wasn't going to upgrade to the side shot that requires a GoPro. That was way out of my price range. There ain't no way I want to spend. I think they had what? Didn't they have the side shot mount and the GoPro combo for like $1,200 or something like that? It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
And that was direct. Let's
I
see.
see a lot of people running the Firefly. They're like the off brand of the GoPro. I guess they got the capability of a GoPro, and they're like $110, and they work just as good as the GoPro. Yeah, they're not the same quality. I don't think the image, but I see a lot of people running them now. You writing that down now?
Yep. No, I'm trying to finish my chicken wing.
Oh, yeah, it's called the Firefly. I see 68 whiskey. That's all they use. Just Fireflies through their GoPro mount.
I didn't finish my chicken wings before we started the live stream because I was making sure I try to answer everybody's comments. That's one thing I have to say about uploading a video every day, trying to keep up with comments if you don't do it.
Yep. Dang, there's thunder out here right now.
Yeah, Tim, I got the GX1s. I don't have the GX3 yet. But if you guys are interested, and I'm not really trying to plug myself here, but the items that I have and I don't use anymore, if you guys are interested, I have a eBay store because there's no point in me. I can't shoot everything that I own, and I get stuff sent to me for review and stuff, obviously. But I have extra stuff that I sell also on the side. So, like for instance, I got extra compressor, actually brand new GX1 compressor. I got two of them, and I'm keeping one of them as just a backup. But I got two. I got one for sale on eBay right now. I got the Element Helix for sale on eBay. Obviously, I'm not charging, what they are going for brand new, but they're still just lower than what you're getting them for, or what you're paying for on Amazon or Pyramid Air or wherever, because that stuff's getting way out of price. I mean, they I think the Helix, didn't it jump up? Element Helix jumped up from $399 to $450 or something like that. Everything went up.
Yeah, when I talked to Thomas the other day from MS Air Guns, he was telling me that he's going to start raising the prices at his place too. Due to the fact is, because they're kind of hard to come by in shipments right now, and I was shocked to hear that. And that includes, I guess, some of his ammo pellets that he has. He's going to be raising the prices on them. And look at us with Pyramid Air when we order the basic 18 to 15.89s. It's crazy how much they just went up.
Yeah, Anthony, if I would have known that, man, I have one brand new. So the story behind that, I might actually do the video of it. You guys know I had that Helix and I got it off Tyler. That's what happened. I wanted to do a video with it just to see how good they were. And I tried my hardest, I kid you guys not, to give it my best shot. And that really irked me that, the scope was, it would not work with a gun going 800 something feet per second unless you turned it up or shot something that was going, 1,000 feet per second. And come to find out, I tested it. I made my own collimator, made sure it tracked good because that's all that Matt and Shane said at Element that they were going to do and test it, make sure it tracks through a collimator. And I was like, okay, so I was like, well, I'm going to test it myself before I ship it to you guys. I want to make sure it's all good, because I mean, obviously, if that's all you're tracking, or if that's all you're doing is the tracking, it tracked fine. It worked fine. I tracked it. I did it at 50 yards. I did it 1 inch, whatever I think it was, it's 1/10 mil per click. So I did 10 clicks up, 10 clicks down. I made sure it worked, and it worked. So I went ahead and sent it back to them, and they sent me a new one. But before I sent it back, I also shot it. I shot it again behind the scenes. I didn't show this. I did it after the fact because a friend now named Ray Bennett, I contacted him and told him what was going on. And he's like, yeah, you should try this and try that. And he told me to put the scope that I was using before, the Centerpoint 3-9, which a lot of you guys know I'm a huge fan of those scopes. They just work. They're great for the money. Well, I put those in the scope rings that the Element was in and used spacers. So it was the same height off the rail, everything. I maxed out the turret on the Centerpoint, the elevation turret, because that's what was happening with the Element Helix is I was running out of elevation. It wouldn't go anymore, and I had the zero stop off and everything. And I had the Centerpoint scope cranked to the max, and I was shooting 2 feet high, 2 feet on my target at 25 yards. Whereas with the Element cranked in the same position, same scope rings on the Avenger, same speed, everything, I could not get the pellets to go above the crosshairs at 25 yards. And that is horrible.
Yep, same with me when I had it.
And the only way you could do that, the only way you could get it to work get your point of impact above your point of aim, was to put those adjustable rings on. And yeah, it must be the height of it's got to be the height of the rail on the bullpup that makes the difference. I bet you the bullpup's got a tilted rail, because that's what those scopes are set up for. They recommend that you have 20 MOA rail on the gun, or you use adjustable scope rings. So I bet the Avenger bullpup's got a tilted rail in it. It's probably got a built-in rail of like 10 MOA or 20 MOA. They're just not advertising it.
Probably. One of us would probably be best to maybe contact one of the Air Venturi guys and ask them to get the full opinion on it to see if it is, because if that's the case, then the Element would work.
Yeah, because if they have a scope rail that high, there is no way the pellet would come up that high. There's no way. You're talking like, I mean, I'm sure, Anthony, you could probably measure it right now. You're talking like 3 or 4 inches above the center of the bore to the center of the scope.
Yep.
That's a lot of distance for that pellet to travel up.
Yep, and that's why the Element just didn't work on the standard Avengers, because it just, I had the same problem like you just said, is I was maxed out on the Element with just the standard 30 millimeter rings, but I was still down to like the two, or the second line or the third line in the scope, and I'm like, no. And then that's when I talked to you about it, and then that's when I went ahead and bought the West Hunters adjustable rings, and when I used them, the whole scope just turned around on me.
Here's this will tell you right now, Anthony, if the if the rail has got a can in it. I don't know what the measurement exactly is, but if you measure the front of the rail and the back of the rail and they're different, the front of it being less than the back, that'll tell you if it's got MOA built into it.
Yep.
He said that the bullpup rail from the center of the scope to the center of the bore is 3 inches and 3/8.
What's the Keela?
Oh, I don't know. It's up there too. I don't have it in here.
I wonder what the Keela. You'll have to measure it after life, because I'm kind of curious now about the Keela, because I think the Avenger, the new ones, I think it has a little higher rail than the Keela, though.
Yeah.
But still, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, the new Avenger came with the 20 MOA rail, then it would work with a longer scope, like we discovered.
Talk to you later, Timmy. Thanks for stopping by.
That's crazy. Makes me wonder though.
Yeah, because that's a lot of distance. That's a lot of travel for bore to scope height. 3 inches.
One of us is gonna have to get one of those new Avengers and then try them out.
Or just call up there and talk to Stacy.
Yeah, see what she says about it.
I think his name was Roger. Yeah, I talked to Roger too. I think that's his name, Roger or Stacy.
Yeah, I talked to Stacy, and she's the one that sent me the new hammer spring that thought was the problem with little Ava, and turned out it wasn't the hammer spring.
Albert said that he's experienced the same issue with the Walter Rain, and he had a SWFA scope, which those are high dollar scopes. My buddy used to shoot with those when we shot long range. He used to have one, or his friend had one on a blueprinted 700 Remington. We were shooting at 500 yards at one time, but those are some pretty awesome scopes. But he said that scope didn't work either until he put the center point on the Walter Rain and he could get the elevation again. That blows my mind. It's got to be again, like it's got to be how long they are. It's cutting across the. I don't know. It's not. It must be that the reticle and the scope tube's too far forward or something.
Yeah, it's got to be that. Yeah, I think it would be kind of cool though, first in my eyes, to take like a tour into these places, like Element Optics, to see how they're actually in depth made, and if the reticle is more forward, over some of these other companies. Like we know the center points, they work good on every gun you put them on. Like it just comes down to the tuning process. But I think it'd be kind of cool to see though, like in depth, on how some of these higher end scopes are actually made and where the reticles put in the scope. In my eyes,
That'd be cool too. Like you said, go to a factory and check them all out, and then if they have a water jet, they could sit there and cut all those scope bodies in half, and you can see the internals.
mm-hmm.
And see exactly where each model that they offer, where the reticle, all this and that sits. You know,
Yeah, I think it would be kind of cool, because then before you go out and buy a scope, then you'll know, okay, this one's, the reticle's farther back. This brand's the reticle's more forward. This brand's more in the middle or whatever, and then you can kind of pick and choose what one, is going to work that you want.
Well, that's another thing too about air guns. Unless you're sitting there shooting, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. And unless you're sitting there trying to shoot hole and hole and hole and hole, like every time, every day, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's been nice, but the scope adjustments I think are too fine. A lot of scopes are just too fine of an adjustment. You got quarter inch, you got quarter MOA, you got mil, 1/10 mil, which is 0.36 inches, and then you got half-inch click. Half-inch click is more than adequate for a pellet gun.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of PCPs, obviously, we all know that you could add basically almost any scope on a PCP. Between a rimfire or air gun rated scope. But I do see a lot of people putting rimfire scopes on PCPs. And it's like they work for a certain amount of distance, and then they just fall off. So it's like I'm kind of picky, and I know you are. For example, like that Simmons brand. Me and you both have them, and I've never had a downfall with that Simmons scope at all, and it tracks so good. And like I told you the other night, is I took it off little Ava and I put it back on her, and it still was holding zero.
That's probably the best scope you bought for the money, wasn't it? Like $57, the best $50 you've ever spent on a scope, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And it tracks so good, and you know, never had a problem with it. The side shot, that's the other problem. The side shot kind of makes the image look a little glary. But, through my eye looking through the optic with no side shot, that thing's freaking perfect. Glass, reticle, everything, you know.
Yeah, the only thing that I didn't care for the Simmons, even though it's a great scope, uh, the power, I had to turn it down from 9 power unless you're shooting exactly at 100 yards or beyond. But that's it. I mean, again, you've seen it, and most people know it. If your eyes can withstand it, you don't need the scope at the full power, and most of the time it can make it worse.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I got that 3 to 9 Pro Target, I turned it up to 9 power for 35 yards and 50. And it didn't matter how much I focused it to my eye, it still was blurry for that close a range. And then I ended up turning it down to right now. I think I'm at like 6 power, 7 power, and it's perfect.
Yeah, I will say on the Helix, they definitely take care of their customers and stuff. But the next question is, why why are they always, getting their products returned? That's another thing. Like I get, stuff happens. I believe it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But there shouldn't be so many returns on a product or, replacements.
Yep.
But yeah, I will say that Shane, definitely took care of the problem, which, like I said, there really wasn't a problem. It just didn't work out on the air gun without being shimmed or the adjustable scope rings. Yes, I have a Simmons Pro Target on 22. Yeah, the Pro Target series, I don't know what they did. Simmons and Tasco used to be the junkiest scopes. And I'm not saying that to be, like a scope snob, but the quality wasn't that great. Let's just leave it at that. But since Bushnell bought Tasco and Simmons, they really upped their game for the price that you're paying for these days. Tyler was really skeptical about it when I bought the Simmons. He's like, I don't know. And then he bought one. He's like, wow, for $50, like the glass really compares to high dollar scopes. Now, is it a high dollar scope? No, but it gets you by until you want to buy that high dollar scope if you can't spend that money right away.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like we were just talking about, you know, I mean, if you're gonna shoot, you know, from 20 yards out to 100, that scope works just as good as a high end scope, you know. And the downfall is, you know, you're gonna only shoot at 100 plus, then that's where that 9 power is. But like we just said, is we don't need it up to 9 power. I mean, the 7 to 6 yard, you know, or X zoom works just as fine as turning it up to 9 at longer range.
Yep. And you don't have to finagle with all those settings. You don't have to adjust the parallax. You just set the eyepiece and you're done.
Yep.
And then you can turn it down. And I mean, that's one of the best for the money. To me, that's one of the best scopes for all around, whether you're plinking, whether you're target practicing or hunting, because then you don't have to finagle with all that parallax setting to focus in on that bird or focus in on that squirrel or rabbit at 50 yards or whatever. You just raise your gun up, pull the trigger, and it's done.
Yep. That's what that's what I liked about that brand.
And it got mil dots in it, so you can literally sit there and calculate your mil dots as long as you leave it at that same power. Now, again, that's a second focal plane scope. You mess with the mil dots, you start turning the power up or down. That's when you start messing with the distance between the dots.
Yep.
And I think, personally, I think that's a lot of people's problems about POI shifting. They want to say, well, it was zeroed. Yeah, but did you use a mil dot to do that, or did you actually use the cross center of the crosshair?
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many people go to the range and they mess with all that, and they're like, oh well, you know, I'm just going to return the scope because it doesn't do what I need to do. You know, but they actually don't sit there and think about the scope. And you know, obviously they came out with that mil dots for a purpose, not, you know, like we were talking about the elements real quick. You know, we see a lot of people like, you know, sit there and they get the tape on their top turret, but they use crosshairs only. They don't worry about using the dots. Well, the problem is about that is, you know, it's fine to do that, but why not just use a basic crosshair scope if you're going to use something like that, you know, instead of having all these different dots in it, you know?
Yeah, I would if I wanted the perfect scope and I was going to use scope tape and adjust my turrets all the time, crank on them up and down, and mark my distances. I'd want the finest reticle possible,
Yep.
and not all that extra crap in there with all the lines and all the numbers.
Yeah. I don't get it, to be honest. I don't get why so many people use the elements and they sit there and use the little tape and all they're using is their crosshairs. You know, it's just like it bugs me. It bugs you. You know, we laugh at these people because it's just funny watching them. You know, I just don't get it.
I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's because of the thought process, because it's a second focal plane that they're doing it that way. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that. But if that was the case, I would just go with if I wasn't going to use my turrets to adjust and just mil dots, I'd go with the first focal plane. A really nice, fine first focal plane, not something with bold, thick lines in it for deer hunting. I'd want something with real fine reticle.
Yep.
All right, what we got going on here? Okay, so reading the comments here. Yeah, I think that's what I said in the video about the Simmons scope. It's parallax at 100. That's all I could find in the manual. Let's see. That's awesome, Anthony, that you're going to be taking the bullpup to field and target.
Hopefully he wrecks those boys.
Yeah. There you go, Mike. Hawk's pretty good brand. I got a Hawk scope sent to me years ago when I did the online golf ball shooting, and I compared that to like the $100 center point with like the same settings. But they do make some pretty good scopes for the money, and their warranty's good. Yeah, if I shoot farther than what my scope is zeroed for, obviously I'm using the mil dots. And the thing is, I got to be careful with if I zero my gun in, depending on the range, I have to calculate on the spot how much those mil dots equal, because usually if you're shooting at say 50 yards or 100 yards, I should say 100. If you're shooting at 100 and your scope is at the setting it was calibrated at, one mil dot between the crosshair, or between mil dots and the crosshair, is 3.6 inches. So at 50 yards that'd be 1.8. But the problem is that's at that calibrated setting of 9 power, say. You turn that down to 4 power, you increase that distance to like 7.5, 8 inches on a second focal plane scope. So you kind of got to be real careful. Like, that's why I like turning the scope down, though. If I'm just plinking, hitting small targets at 100 yards or more, I turn my scopes down because I don't really need that much power for one, and I get more holdover out of it. More distance between the dots.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I've never shot field target. I've never been in a competition as of yet. I'm planning on going to the Pyramid Air Cup, and that's probably the only competition I'll be shooting ever, just to prove a point and show up.
See, and then real quick to add on to that, on the scope topic, real quick, is a lot of people think, well, it's a 3 to 9 power. I got to shoot at 9 power only, but technically you really don't have to if you calculate your ballistics. You don't really have to only shoot at that power. You can turn it down as long as you practice at that, that zoom, and you keep it at that.
Did they really already cancel Pyramid Air? Did it already get canceled this year? I didn't even know it did.
I didn't know. I didn't hear it.
I don't know. Somebody said it did.
I don't know. Hold on out.
There you go, Mike. Putting the Hawk on the 78. There you go. Yeah, first focal plane. It just takes away a lot of variables. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Yep. Hopefully you do well. Field target seems to be a whole nother animal. I think that's the one. That's the one where you go around the different shooting lanes, right, and shoot the little targets that flip over and knock out. My friend Ray does it. I hope. Well, I don't know. That's crazy that they canceled it already. That's kind of early. I mean, that's way early. It's not even. It's over 5 months away. But God, man, I really planned on going. I guess Tyler Patner announced it that they canceled
They canceled the Pyramid Air Cup.
Yeah. Jeez.
Oh well. Well, when I come down there in August, we'll go squirrel hunting.
There we go. So if you guys don't know, I'm a big time small game hunter. I love small game hunting. You know, I shoot air rifles and such, but I love small game hunting probably way more than I do deer hunting. I do deer hunting mainly for the meat. A lot of people don't know that. I don't really care for whether it's a wall hanger or whatever, but I mainly deer hunt for the meat. And then, but small game hunting for me, that's where it's at. That's what I get excited about. And then shooting air rifles all the time keeps me, you know, keeps me ready to go for when it's season. Let's see. On my 1022, have I noticed any difference in the stock bolt versus the match bolt? I think the only difference is just the dimension of the head spacing. I think the head spacing on on the match bolt that I got is like 0.45 thickness, and then the standard Ruger is 0.52, something like that. So I think it just depends on what type of ammo you're using, and you could check the rim thickness, and I would go off that. Like most of your standard rim thickness is between like 4.45 to 0.5, something like that. I think that's only when it really factors in, because if you have a bolt that has a short head thickness or a smaller head thickness, and you're shooting a rimfire headspace, like a bigger ammunition, it might affect it. My gun didn't care for it when I was shooting the Gilas with the match bolt. They didn't care for it because it was just, the bolt wasn't closing down far enough, I think. I don't know. Awesome. I'll check out for the email. Thanks for sending me the pics. Have I tried the Squirrel Classic? No, but I see that all the time. Isn't it? I can't remember where it's at. If it's in one of the southern states.
I think it's.
Is it Gamo, or is that just the regular like hunting season? I think it's the Gamo Squirrel Classic, ain't it?
Yeah, but I think it's in Alabama or something.
Georgia?
Somewhere down south.
There you go. 177 definitely will do the job, especially at 35 foot-pounds. Jesus.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy. Do that.
Hey, we got 21 people on. How about that?
Jeez.
Definitely not McCabe Speed crowd, but that was the last live stream I did, actually. I didn't do it on my own. I was on McCabe Speed. That's right. McCabe Speed's wild.
Oh, yeah.
Remember you asked me, you said, hey, what's he like? And before I even got on, I said, he's wild.
Oh, yeah. The way he starts out all of his live streams. Like, jeez.
He puts on he's theatrical. He's like, all right, everybody, welcome back.
Oh, yeah.
He's got it going on, though. You got to admit, man. He gets into it.
And then he always adds into that beginning, like, something, air gun, something, or whatever. It's like, jeez.
What chrono do I recommend? Out of all the chronographs, I've tested the actual Crony brand. I've tested the Caldwell brand. I have the FX brand currently. if you buy one, I highly recommend getting a sonar. I think that's what it is. Yeah, sonar. Whether it's FX or any other one, get one where the light is not required, because then you can actually shoot and test and tune your gun with or without daylight. So that's been an awesome upgrade in chronographs. Yeah, I had a lab radar and it cut out and quit working on me, and I was mad. I was livid. It was like over $700 to get delivered to my house because I had to buy the special airgun mic for it to even work. I was livid. I could not believe it. I was like, yeah, that's great and all. It tells you exactly how fast your pellet's going all the way to the certain yardage, but then it just stopped working on me.
Yep, I remember that.
And then the only reason why I didn't get another one was because when I returned it, Midway USA was out of them. I returned it when they were out of stock. I was like, God dang it, man.
Yep.
Yep, I got all three calibers too myself. I really need to show some love to the 177. I don't know, man. I've shot 177 all my life, and I think I burn out of it. I think that's what it is. Literally, that's probably why I don't really shoot the 177 a lot, because I shot 177 break barrels all my life, and I'm just burnt out. I think that's what it is.
Yep.
And then until I got my Beam and Chief, like 2017, yeah, I got my Beam and Chief in 2017, and I've been hooked on 22 cal ever since. I mean, 22 cal is my thing.
Yeah, I definitely love 22 better.
Yeah, the FX chronograph, it is awesome. That's what I got to say about it. I mean, as long as you have it calibrated in, as long as you put it on the barrel the right way. I've done that a couple of times, not paying attention, and I put it on backwards, and I was like, why is it not reading? Well, I look at it and it put it on backwards, but other than that, I've never had any problems with it. Again, you just make sure you have the settings tuned in and stick it on the end of the barrel.
Yep.
Oh, we got Idaho air guns in here. That's your boy.
There's the little Starling.
Starling Killer.
Yeah, Terminator.
Yep.
That's him.
There you go. 130 shots on a full fill at 177.
Dang.
So, Mike, you got the FX Pocket Crony? Man, I haven't seen your videos in a while.
I didn't even know he even had that.
Can you set the FX Pocket Crony down? Yeah, you can set it on a table. I've never messed with it like that. I never shot it like that on a stand or anything. I just use a wife's hair tie and put it on the barrel.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah. Hold on.
Ain't no
About 20 more minutes. Okay.
one gonna say nothing.
Just look. That's all it is. Oh, yeah, man. It definitely does. That's the only thing. That's the only downside. Have I tried super heavy 177 pellets? No, I have not. I think the heaviest I've went was like 10.5, like the Crossman 10.5 grain and the Avenger, me personally. Let's see. But yeah, Mike, to add on to that, that is the only thing that I cannot stand about the FX pocket chronograph. It eats through batteries. I got 2 sets of rechargeables. So that's something you might want to get into or get your hands on, Anthony. If you do get the FX chronograph, get a 6-pack of rechargeable batteries and get a charger because it's going to be eating through the battery power. I use Rayovac, I think. There you go. Yeah, that's one thing I haven't messed with is doing all the upgrades and mods to my guns. I don't know. I just haven't. I just feel like I want to leave my stuff like factory and see how much I could squeeze out of it. Would I ever consider putting on a shooting or tuning clinic of some sort? I think that'd be a good idea. What do you think, Tyler? Like to actually help some people out that are having some trouble or just trying to get their gun basically tuned in and then they can adjust it to whatever they want.
Or do a meet and greet with me and you combined together.
Yep.
And then they can bring whatever they want.
Yeah. Man, we got 28 people watching now.
Jeez.
I know. They put me on the stage tonight, didn't they?
Exactly. I've been broadcasting for you last week.
He's been plugging me all up. He's been sitting there plugging me every time he gets live.
Mm-hmm. I told them we're going live tonight. You know, I got ways to.
There you go. Can't beat that. 13 and 15 grain slugs and 177 getting half-inch groups at 50 yards. That's not bad.
No. I'll take that all day for slugs.
Awesome. Thanks for watching my videos. I've been trying to challenge myself. Again, I said this earlier, but if I'm not uploading on YouTube, I shoot every day as much as possible. I'm fortunate enough that I can do that and have the range to do it on, and my neighbors like me. But if I'm not uploading on YouTube, I'm uploading on YouTube page or Facebook pages or whatever, you know. So I was like, why not just challenge myself and upload a video every day on YouTube? So like, you know, I got videos planned and I got videos ready to do and all this and that. So, you know, I thought, why not try it out and see what happens? I used to make custom. That's awesome. He said he made custom. Are you watching the chat?
No.
Oh, Anthony Bonanzi, the one that makes the quick cocking lever for the bullpup and the chassis.
Mm-hmm.
He says he used to make ion batteries. So he's going to make some ion batteries for when he gets lithium ion batteries when he gets the FX Pocket Crony. Dang, 35 cal expansion out of a 177 slug. An autograph signing of STKO and Extreme Outdoors.
Jeez. There's a lot of people in there tonight.
I've never had the bone collector. What's your experience with the bone collector? You had the Gen 1. You didn't have the Gen 2.
Junk.
Yeah, the Gen 1 was not that great.
No, because you remember, because I went through two of them. Because I remember I bought the first one at Dunham's up here. And then I was thinking, oh man, it's going to be bad to the bone. And then the first one, it was leaking air or something, or it was really low tune. And I remember you had me put up what was a piece of plywood at point blank, and it bounced off of it with just a standard pellet. And I'm like, oh man. And then I ended up returning it. And I said, nope, ain't what I want.
Yeah, it was so underpowered, it wasn't even funny.
Yeah, it was like total suppress. I could literally see the pellet flying out there at 10 yards, and it was just a little lobbing action. Like, nope, that ain't gonna work for me.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I'm sure the Gen 2 is way better than Gen 1, but Gen 1, man, it was it was horrible. It had a finger snapper trigger on it. It was horrible.
Yep.
Do I have any channels on any alternate sites? Well, I got my Facebook page. I know a lot of people don't get on Facebook, but I got my Facebook page. I have actually two. I got the page and the group. I got the All About Air Guns group page, and I got the STKO page. So I got that going. But other than that, no, I haven't joined. I think I joined Daily Motion or one other site, whatever site that Rick Usler went to. I can't remember what he did a couple years ago. He went to Daily Motion, I think it was, and started uploading there. But it's been a couple years since I've been on there. And I only did it because everybody thought YouTube was shutting down or YouTube was getting rid of gun channels. Yeah, I've never messed with Griffin. Never really went out of my way for slugs. I'm really picky. I mean, I am really picky when it comes to ammunition. Tyler knows this. I don't buy slugs. Slugs are not my thing, and I don't know. It's just it has to be the right dimension. It has to be perfect for me to shoot a slug. Like everything has to be in line. Rifling has to match the slug. The slug has to be going into the barrel straight. I mean, I am really picky when it comes to shooting slugs.
Yep, I know that. Especially with you.
Yeah, like my pellets are, and Tyler will tell you this, my pellet tunes are insane. I mean, a lot of you guys seen it with my videos, but the truth is they are. I was shooting I was shooting slugs, just messing around. Um, I was shooting slugs at 150 yards and comparing them to my pellet tunes. And in the Avenger, with the slugs turned up, the slugs were dropping and hitting the ground before my pellets were. And that is the truth. Like I could not believe it. And that's why I'm so picky.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, my opinion on slugs, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna send you some of those 2175s for you to try out, but they're all right, but they just, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, the swarm guns, the swarm Gammo guns, in my opinion, are one of the best commercialized break barrel air guns readily available that you can get, and they're superbly accurate out of the box. Like I've never had a Gammo that wasn't accurate,
Yep.
unless it was like the Chinese brand that they just contracted out. But if it was made by a legit Gammo in Spain, it is legit.
Yep. Yeah. You gotta be careful where you order from too, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't heard anything really bad about the Crossman F4 guns. I actually was going to get one a while back, but for some reason I never did. But they're like $80, I think, with the nitro gas piston in them, and they got a nice thumbhole stock on them. The ones I've seen for a decent price.
I still have my Crosman 177. I think it's the Fire or something, or the Fairy.
I thought that was the Gamma one. Didn't you have the Gamma Wildcat 177 too, or is that 22?
No, that was 177. I sold that one, but I still have the Crosman. I think it was the F4. It's in my gun safe right now. I have to pull it out tomorrow and take a look at it. But I think I do have one.
There you go. Yeah, that's the only thing about Crossman on the lesser expensive brake barrels like that. What I found about Crossman is the 177s seem to like Crossman ammo, but when you get to 22, it seems like the Crossman ammo in their own caliber doesn't seem to work that well for some odd reason. But I think it's because the bore is overboard in 22. It's like a 5.51 when it should have been, something less like Gammo's. Gammo barrel dimensions are 5.45 bore, so they're really tight. I think that's why the Gammos are a lot more accurate too, out of the box in comparison to a Crossman barrel.
Yeah.
What's going on, Jay? A slug going the same speed should not drop faster than a pellet. Yeah, it shouldn't, but again, there's some things about slugs that I know that are I am hugely picky on my slugs, and there's a reason why they did that, and Tyler knows the reason why. Slugs, yeah, I agree 100%. They shouldn't have, but they did. Let's see. Yeah, definitely dieseling or combusting a brake barrel is, excuse me, definitely gives it some more ump behind it. Yep, Gammo guns are. I got a Gammo brake barrel that's it's over like 25 years now. It's still shooting roughly the same claim velocity that they claim when it was brand new, and it's still that old. And I've never rebuilt it or anything. But we've been going at it for over an hour. I think I'm going to cut it short here in a couple minutes. Appreciate you guys stopping by and chatting it up with us. But yeah, like I was answering comments, Tyler, when you stepped away. about the slugs. They said that the slugs going the same speed as pellets should not be falling faster than pellets. But yeah, that's right. They shouldn't be, but there's a reason why they are.
Yep.
The slugs were starting to destabilize right when they leave the barrel.
Yeah, I know with the warmer temps now.
Oh, that's another thing. Before we get off here, to talk, you go ahead and say that again. Like, go ahead and tell them about the warmer temps. I mean, I've told them this before.
Yeah. So in the winter time, you guys shoot the shorter pellets due to the colder temps. In the summer, in the spring, you can go back to the longer pellets. And like earlier today, this morning, I was shooting some longer pellets, but I went to the short pellets and they shot like crap. So in the winter temps, you want to do that over the cold temps.
Yep. But the reason why the slugs are shooting like that at the same velocity as a pellet and they're dropping faster, in theory, in reality, they shouldn't, but they do. Depending on the gun, it's because they were unstable going out of the barrel, right at the muzzle. They were starting to oscillate as soon as they left the barrel. The skirt or the tail of the slug in flight was angling and was not flying in a spiral. It was angling as it was spiraling. And then when you get to a certain distance, the air density and the wind and everything starts to affect it. But that has nothing to do with the speed either, because I've shot slugs at 900 feet per second. It's not a speed thing.
Yep. Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, like we both know, there's certain size pellets made for different temps.
Yep. Well, that, and it's also how straight it goes into the bore.
Yep.
And everybody knows the Avenger guns are horrible with slugs. Not the accuracy part, which ain't the greatest. I was just answering comments about that too a minute ago on Facebook. But you will never get a slug to shoot as good as a pellet out of Avenger. Ever.
I mean, you could spend countless hours out there trying to tune for it, but
the way that Avenger is designed, I'll leave it at that. The way the Avenger is designed, and I've reversed engineered it myself, the way it's designed, you will never get a slug, or you'll never get a 22 caliber Avenger. 25 will get close. I'll admit that. 25 gets pretty close to a pellet tune, but you'll never get a 22 to shoot as good as pellets, or at least my tunes.
No, I've never got all the slugs I tested in the 22 just weren't as good as the pellet out of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can hit what you're aiming at, but
we're talking precision, like one hole accuracy, or talking like MOA groups at 100 yards, like within an inch or so or less of a dime size group.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, you won't get that.
And 22, that is. 25 is a different story. Like you can get pretty close with slugs shooting out of a 25. The way the 25 is designed, it's a little different than the 22. A lot of people don't know that.
Yep.
And the only reason I know it's designed differently, not only because it's a different caliber, but the air passages and everything, the airways, is if you degas every one of those guns at the same time, the 25 will be degassed first, then the 22, and then the 177. The porting and everything in the 25 is obviously bigger, and there's some other inside the valving and all that stuff.
Yep.
But the 22, it is not ever going to be set up for slugs ever out of the box. Now people can work it out probably if they know what they're doing, if they know what they're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously take a lot of time and effort and all these aftermarket parts put into it, but
Well, I'm going to say the way the barrel is out of the box, there's no way you're going to get a slug to shoot out of it as good as a pellet.
no, there's no doubt. I mean, I like that's why I mean, slugs are fine, but I just don't want to spend much more time with slugs.
Yeah.
Because they're just too much fussy, and if they don't like that twist, they don't like that speed. Good luck getting them to shoot good.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an unregulated gun at that time, but for a regulated that you can adjust, such as the Avenger, yeah, you can work on a little bit of reg pressure and hammer springs, but yeah, you ain't gonna get it to shoot as good as a pellet.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know that pellets, even though slugs and pellets are two different ammunitions, the slug doesn't seal like the pellet does.
Yep.
For one, that burst of air that goes through the valve and all that through up to the transfer port hits the skirt of the pellet and it expands to the bore and actually matches the rifling more times than not. Whereas you can have a leak around the slug and it goes forward and that's it. Whatever it is, it is.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same concept as rimfire or center fire. If you don't have that, if you don't shoot an oversized bullet going in the breech, for one, and the casing is not aligned properly to the throat and all that, the case housing and all that, once it goes in the barrel of the chamber, if it doesn't match the chamber and your barrel's crooked, or not barrel, your bullet is crooked in the casing, and you fire that bullet off, it's not going to spin properly ever.
Yep. That's why I kind of gave up on them. Personally, in my eyes, they're just too much of a pain, and it's like I could shoot pellets at 700 and lower, and they're more accurate. It's like I don't care about slugs.
Airgun said he's getting sub MOA with his own slugs. That's awesome, but I don't think you're not using Avenger though, right? You're using don't you have a crawl and a couple other, or is that the what 22s do you have? Because you don't have an Avenger. I don't think you use the NPO3 and something other, right? Some other.
Yeah, the crawl and PL3. Well, you got it back from me now again, but I did test some slugs through it, but didn't really spend a lot of time shooting slugs in it.
Let's see. Have I seen the new Narika Omnia ZRS? I have not. I that's the thing about me. I really don't go out of my way unless something catches my eye or somebody tells me about something new. I really don't go out of my way just to look up stuff, or unless I'm watching a video like looking up something that I want to look into or, buy and review or something like that. But I really don't keep up with stuff anymore, unfortunately. Buy American Air Arms Evo and shoot everything sub 1 inch. I don't know. That's a big deal there. 1 inch everything. 1 inch everything at 100 yards. I'm gonna go to Walmart and get me some Ruger Impact Elite pellets.
That seems kind of a little strange. Kind of hard to believe.
How come Tyler's not on the screen? It's just because the way I got it set up, he's on Facebook Messenger call and I'm on YouTube Live here. I wish they would allow that where you could add a screen. That'd be cool.
I know. Like back when we used to do it, how
Google Hangouts.
Mm-hmm.
That's been 5-6 years ago.
I gotta go get some.
All right.
I'm hungry.
Got the 22 Avenger and the MPO3 Puncher Dazzle. There you go. Shoot Brocock and pellets are the way to go. There you go. Crawl Puncher Breaker 22, the Benjamin Kratos and Air Force Condor. Yep. I would like you to look at it. I don't think I could see the link. I don't know if it let you show it in the chat. What's going on, Mal Money Mike? Just picked up a Bulldog. Any advice? Yeah, the nozzlers are expensive. JSB 81 grain, or I have not tried the H&N Grizzly 35 cal, but I heard there were some good things about those. I just never had my hands on them. Got anything to say about the barrel band? The stock band? Not really. I mean, I guess just double check your set screws. I mean, there is a little wiggle room at the end of my muzzles, but that doesn't seem to affect my accuracy. My guns aren't updated or anything. I never updated anything. All mine are factory. Yeah, mine have some play in them, but I think it's because of the shroud itself. It's not so much of a barrel, but I know the barrel is connected to that separator inside, that stabilizer, but it doesn't really seem to affect it that much. As you, I don't know if you've been watching my latest videos, but my 22 Avenger has been spot on. Got the Avenger with the barrel locator, barrel band, LDC complete kit. There you go. What's going on, Sam? $500 max. Probably for pest controlling, I would go with the 22 for the most power. You can get some good HW rifles for that. Good HW HKs. Um, a couple other good brake barrels, really nice quality brake barrels for that cost. Under levers, there you go. You wouldn't even need a brake barrel, just get an under lever. Just sitting here shooting it up with Tyler from Air Guns Extreme, and then we're gonna get off here in about 5 minutes. We kind of went over what we went. We've been going at it for an hour and almost a half now. So definitely more videos to come. Again, I've been uploading daily just to basically see if I could do it for one, and I pretty much do it anyways, whether I'm uploading on YouTube or Facebook. Thin rifling or wider rifling? I would say, out of all my experience, guns that have thinner rifling are the less pickiest. And the reason why I say that is because that's going from Marlin micro groove rifling, which I've always shot in 22 long rifle, to going to air guns. They're almost identical. Like the rifling is so thin that I think the micro groove rifling is just where it's at if you're going to go a standard rifling barrel.
Yep.
Because if you get a barrel that's got too much rifling or too wide of a lands of rifling in it, it's going to be very pellet picky. Going to get some air gunning soon, Sam. Weather getting better. How many air guns do I own? Well, I have a massive collection of firearms. I probably got a fraction of air guns compared to firearms, and I'm trying to think. Beeman Chief was my first one. The Umrex Gauntlet 22. What was the next one? I can't even remember now. I had the Storm Rider. I had the G2 Storm Rider. I had the MPO3, or I still got the MPO3. I got it back off of you. I got the Avenger 22, 25, and 177. The AEA 30, the AEA 50. I don't know, probably 15 right now at the time. Yeah, and I got the AEA 25 cal still.
Yep.
What do I think about the IBS SK1925? Not sure. I haven't really looked at it. I really don't keep up to date too much on airgun stuff, unfortunately. Like that wise, I don't keep current. What's the next best model and all this and that. I just do my thing. I try to keep myself busy. Like I really don't have too much downtime, but I haven't. We haven't done a live stream in a while, so I thought, you know what, why not? Because last time I did it on my own, I showed an air gun in the clip in the video, and they terminated the live stream. Yeah, I know. Kenny is my buddy over at SG. Him and I get along, and we're buddies. So I know he's definitely got a lot of guns. He's definitely got a lot more than me. I like SG though. He tells it how it is. And from the last time I heard, he's got his own line of scopes out, or not his own, but he Black Hound Optics is his thing now, his brand with his name on it.
Yeah, I think I heard that.
What's the best base for 22 LR? Flat base or dish base? Are you meaning like are you meaning what are you talking about with 22 LR wise? Like what type of bullet? How's the feud going with the FX salesman? I don't know, man. I don't even get into it with anybody. I'm not gonna lie. I had a friend I've talked to last night that knows all those guys. He knows every one of them. He's friends with them, and he was really upset. And it takes a lot for this kid to get upset. And he was really upset with them that the way they went out all on me and pulled their little stunt they did with me. And I didn't even start anything with them. I didn't call them, said that they, anything. I just said, hey, that's between their ordeal. That was between them two doing their little challenge. I just wanted to see if I could do it. It was possible with my guns, and they didn't like it. He could my friend that's friends with all those guys because he shoots at competitions with them. He was livid. He couldn't believe they did that.
Yep. Well,
highest BC is that? Are you talking about 22 LR or are you talking about 22 cal slugs in general for the 22 air guns? Yeah, I think it's Black Hound. That's what it is. Black Hound scopes. That's what that's what his name's on. He's got affiliation with them now, Black Hound. Yeah, I can't remember. You get like 10% off or something if you use his name or coupon or something. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know. It's only thing I could say was, I'll say this. I'm not going to talk bad about them because I don't know them personally. But what I did was I did it at 150 yards, and one of them did it at 150 with a rifle, a 22 LR, and one of them did it at 50 with a pellet gun. I did it both at 150, and I did it twice, like 2 response videos. Come on, man, 2. That's hilarious. You gotta admit, you guys gotta admit, that's hilarious. 2 response videos.
Yeah, they still want to look up your address.
Yeah, I know. They still wanted to look me up and tell me exactly where my target was out in the middle of the field. Come on. Oh, well.
Yeah, one of them's from my area.
Yeah, that's just funny. How do I like the lab radar? I don't have it anymore. That's the thing. So I was using it a lot, and I had it for like 2 weeks, and I was taking some crony numbers, getting my ballistic data, and all that, and it stopped working. And I was livid. Like, you got to be kidding me! It was like $700 total out the door, delivered and everything, and I had to buy an extra mic just for the air gun to work, to be picked up, and it just stopped working. I used the power supply, I used the battery compartment, everything. It just wouldn't work anymore. So Pyramid Air, Midway USA returned it, and they were out of stock. So I never got another one.
Yep.
But I really liked it. I admit I liked it, but again, it just stopped working. And at the time I returned it, they didn't have any more.
Yeah, and that's what I was shocked about, because I remember you were telling me, "Oh, I'm gonna get one to prove someone that we
Yeah,
know."
so the whole story behind that, and I'll tell you guys straight up, we're friends now. But the whole story behind that was somebody was trying to tell me that my ballistic coefficients on my pellets weren't that great. And I spent $700 just to prove a point. That's what it was all about. And then that way I can have the data for you guys, obviously for video purposes. But I mainly did it in spite of this person telling me that I didn't know my ballistic coefficient when I was taking when I was recording my velocities. And they said that there's no possible way that my pellets were getting that high of ballistic coefficients, which I think it was at the time it was the Origin rifle I was shooting and the Avenger. And what I was doing was the Avenger and the Origin have the same barrel, and I was using the H&N 18 pellet, the Barracudas, the new ones that just came out. And what happens is with pellets is that as soon as they leave the barrel, their ballistic coefficients change in flight. There's no set ballistic coefficient with pellets ever. Well, at the highest spot I've ever recorded, the ballistic coefficient with my pellets was 0.06, something like that, 0.063. But that was between a certain distance at the yardage I was shooting at. That wasn't from the muzzle to 50 yards. That was from like 35 to 50 yards, and that's why they were flying so good. Yeah. So, pellets and bullets are two different things. They're two different designs. You can't use the muzzle velocity and impact velocity and just calculate the ballistic coefficient and say, yep, that's it. It changed in flight. It changed from 5 yards, 10 yards. That's what the lab radar mainly for me was used for, was telling me my ballistic coefficients at each yardages.
Yep.
Because then you could take the velocity at the yardages it read and excuse me, compare them. And you could see your high and low spots where your pellet's dipping off from, like, at the muzzle going 920, at 25 yards, it's at 890. Well, then from 25 yards to 40 yards, it went from 890 to 860.
Yep.
So you can actually find the path of where the pellet is flying at the straightest trajectory possible, if that's what you're in it for.
Yep.
I don't really mess with that anymore, because most of the time now, as some of you asked me how I tune my guns, I literally I literally look at my scope and shoot and watch the pellet fly. That's how I got it down now. Literally, I mean, I can't make this stuff up. I can actually watch it through my reticle, and if it flies straight out of my gun, even with the wind blowing, I watch the pellet, and whether it veers off or left or right or whatever I need to do. But again, that comes down to the tune, and it comes down to how well and level your scope is over the top of your bore.
Yep.
Oh, there he is, the man of the hour, Monkey Dad. Joe from JSB's on here. How about that?
Oh boy.
What's going on, Joe? Appreciate the Predator GTO pellets again. They worked out. I haven't had much time messing with them. I've been doing so much other stuff.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
There's a mouse over here.
So maybe he can answer some questions for us, Tyler, while he's on here about FX stuff, or not FX, but JSB stuff. Nothing that nobody really knows, but something like, you got any questions for JSB? Oh, since you're on here, Joe, I need to know about the Hades, the 15.89 grain Hades. I was told that they're the 1813s, but looking at them, they have the same skirt as the 15.89s. And from what I've been told, they're the same as the 15.89 dome pellets. So were they the 1813s and then re-swatched to the 15.89 die with the head cut out? Because I go by the bearing surface, and obviously if they're the same dimensions as the 15.89 dome pellet with just the head and the skirt, the same, it's no wonder why they shoot really good. He said they were the 1813s. So I wonder if they resized them. Because the skirt you said is the same as the 15.89 dome, didn't you? Yeah, because the 18 pellets got the flat base in the skirt, where the 15.89's got more of that concave triangle shape. The cone. That's a cone shape in the skirt. How can you shoot lights out with the thick crosshairs? I can't believe it. Well, more times than not, what I do is, if I'm trying to see how well it shoots or how well it groups, I'll actually have my trajectory to the right or left of my crosshairs, but my pellet flies in a straight line. Like, I'll actually watch it. I have my crosshair set on my target, and I'll have my pellet or my barrel, if you move the reticle, in theory, it should just move left or right, and it shouldn't change the angle of your trajectory if it's true to the scope. So if your reticle is moved just a hair left or right, and that pellet flies in directly line with your reticle, I use that as a starting point, and then I'll shift my reticle back over to be in line with my trajectory and be zeroed at my point of aim. And then I can use that for my holdover, like on cards and stuff. I make sure it shoots good at first, obviously. Make sure it's flying true. They're asking if you got the mouse.
No. Like, literally, if I had a blowgun, he was sitting right here on this tire on our thing, just looking at me, like 3 feet from me.
The other thing about, since Joe's on here too, I'm sure he would agree with me on this. Very rarely do pellets expand unless you hit something that really opens them up. And more times than not, the animal that you're aiming at is too soft for it to actually expand unless you hit some bone or something like that. That's the only thing I don't care for, like with modified head pellets, is that even though the weight distribution of the pellet is more towards the front of the pellet, unless you hit hard enough uh, density target or whatever, the meat, flesh, bone, unless you hit something hard enough for it to expand, it's really not going to expand. It might deform, but it's not going to expand like everybody wants to see, that huge mushroom or something. Whereas on a slug, the weight is more in the back, like a train. It just keeps going through. And heck, even big bore slugs don't expand. I've had that happen, which mine, when I hit that deer, it wasn't meant to expand. It was meant to go through and penetrate, obviously, but you really got to crank up some, you really got to shoot like the big bore stuff at high velocity, and it has to be on high velocity, or the target has to be really dense, that it hits to really expand.
Yeah. Yep.
You see what, here's your answer about the Hades. You should see the chat of what Joe typed up for you.
Just read it out.
Okay, so Joe said 830 is a good speed for him. The Hades, no matter what caliber, are not going to give you the full expansion unless you're pushing them really fast, like 177 Hades. Unique about the Hades is what they give enough expansion where they act like a blender blade, so they grind up and chop everything up as they go through. That's the thing about pellets, though, is that the BC changes in flight. That's the problem. The muzzle velocity and compared to impact velocity is two different stories. You could shoot a gun at 890 feet per second and 50 yards, it could be at 650 and it won't do squat. It's still, I mean, it still hit the animal, obviously, but it ain't going to expand.
Yeah, because that grackle I just shot today or yesterday, was it today or last night? And it was with the 22 Haiti, and just the thud of it impacting him was ridiculous over the pellet, and I ended up hitting that crackle a little bit lower than I wanted to, but it still knocked him out there at 80 yards. And did it right before that with a standard dome pellet, and that crackle flew off with his legs hanging down and took a nose dove into the woods. But the one with the Haiti just knocked him straight out.
Yeah, and a lot of times we found too. See, Tyler and I have tested this with so many scenarios, so many guns, so many velocities, that even if you're shooting a pellet super fast, that means nothing, because it depends on the density of the target you're hitting and the density of the material that the pellet is made out of. Because if you're shooting the H&N pellet that's super hard lead, it'll zip through like butter, and it won't even do nothing. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, if you hit it in the heart or something, it'll kill it and knock it around. But if it zips through like butter, the chances of the wound closing back up and it running off and you not finding it's a lot more than hitting it in the head or something like that. That's the only thing I have to say about pellets, is that with the weight distribution in the front, they really don't pop on target. They really don't give you that entry expansion. I don't know. Like I said, unless you hit bone and it actually sits there and you know what do they call it, tumble. Unless it tumbles in the animal.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of starting to work with the Hades a little bit more, and it's like I'm starting to kind of lead to them, but same time they're just not as accurate um, as the standard dome pellet, though.
Yeah.
Like they're good for hunting, but if you want precise, it's the dome time.
Yeah, I think in short, it seems the best thing to do. Birds, it don't matter. They're going down no matter what. But small game like rabbits or squirrels, or heck, even something bigger, and you're using pellets, go for the headshot. Don't try to take a body shot. I don't know. It never works out the way you want it to with a body shot.
Yeah, unless you caught, lungs or heart. Other than that, if you don't catch any of that, it's just gonna run off. Then you're gonna have to go track it, and like that happened with us the other night on the coyote hunt. We're using center fires. And my buddy that was running the 6.5 Grindle, he hit a coyote right in the shoulder, and that dog took off running like nothing happened. We ended up putting two more shots into him on the run before falling. Now, if we didn't shoot at him, that tells you how tough they are too. The same thing with small game animals. If you don't make that good shot placement, good luck.
Yep. And this goes to show too. A lot of you guys don't know this, but I was actually in a car wreck the other morning, and a deer. I kid you not, guys. A deer jumped in front of my car, and out of the corner of my eye, I seen the deer in mid-flight as I was going about 60 miles an hour because I seen the deer on the side of the road. They weren't in the road yet; they were down in the ditch, and I slowed down, and I was probably going about 50 miles an hour on impact. This deer just jumped out of the ditch out of nowhere in my blind spot. And as I seen the deer jump across in front of the car, I tucked my head and closed my eyes. And the deer hit the car so hard it looked like a wrecking ball hit it because the top of the car was pretty much demolished. And the deer got up and ran off. That tells you how tough those animals are, no matter what animal it is.
Yep.
That deer cost me over $20,000 worth of damage.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't matter what kind of gun you're shooting, really. It's all about shot placement. It comes down to that. I mean, you could take a Canadian version air gun that's only rigged to be shooting 300 feet, 400, maybe 5. But if you could take that first shot, put it in that head or vital area, and you're going to hit that heart or lung area, that's fine. But then again, I did see a lot of people that are sub 12-foot-pound guns, and they're shooting heads off of these squirrels and all this. And, yeah, it's like, gee,
Well, you do with them guys shooting the 177s too. That's the thing. Like over the pond, over the water there, using 177, they're getting the most flattest trajectory because they're shooting, even though it's sub 12 foot-pounds, they're still up in like the 800 feet per second range.
yeah,
And obviously, 177 has more penetrating power.
yep, yeah. It's like, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter what projectile you're using, as long as you can take that first shot and aim where you want, and you know where that projectile is going to land. That's different there. But if you just go, oh, well, if I aim here, it should land there, but it drops 2 or 3 inches or more, and the animal gets up and takes off, then it's like, you gotta go after it.
Yeah, I'm gonna send the Joe. You got your email on your phone. I'll send you these pictures. You ain't gonna believe what this deer did to this car, man. Like it is bad. My wife and everybody around me said that I was superiorly lucky on what happened. And I was like, well, you do know I shoot every day, right? So I actually see my pellets in flight, and I I seen that deer like within a split of a second. I tucked my head because I had glass and deer hair all over me. I mean, it's not funny, but it's like, damn.
Yep.
I'm gonna send these pictures to him real quick, and I think we're gonna call it an evening, guys. I appreciate you guys for stopping by and hanging out with us. God, we've been on for almost 2 hours.
Yep.
Oh, Skinny Mitch is here. Yeah, I definitely, if you guys would like, I'll definitely do more of these live streams. I just, last time it happened, last time I did one, um, I showed an air gun and they terminated it. And I'm sure a lot of you remember that. And that's just the last time that I was just, I don't know, I just like, as much as I like talking to you guys and answering questions in the comments, the live stream, I just took a break. Now, Tyler, on the other hand, he loves them.
Yeah, send your fans over my way, King. Some of the people that are subscribed to you, never even heard of.
Yeah, I get new subscribers all the time, obviously, but um, people are joining YouTube every day, and you know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this though, uh, uploading every day definitely helps your channel. If you guys are trying to grow your channel, and I know it's hard to do, but I've been challenging myself. Oh man. All right, 2 more minutes, and we're gonna call it a night.
That Applebee's song is so annoying.
Huh.
I hate it. Just go do a TikTok on that.
I still can't believe that deer left so much fur in the car. It's not even ridiculous. Like there's no blood, but so much fur. Like I almost skinned that deer.
That's crazy.
Yeah, not one drop of blood.
ATN should sponsor me. Like that's what I want. I want to get like a night vision company to work.
it's 11:30, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us tonight. I know we were just shooting the crap and, talking about air guns and all this and that and, catching up. And again, I'll probably have to plan on doing more of these. Like I said, last time I did it, I showed an air gun and had to restart the live stream. But, I do enjoy it and just finding the time to do it because obviously you guys know I'm pretty busy working, doing this, YouTube, uploading a video every day, everything else going on in life. You know how it is. But Tyler's channel is, would you change it to Air Guns Extreme now? Air Guns Extreme Outdoors or Ajax Outdoors?
Ajax Outdoors.
That's it. He changed his name. Ajax Outdoors, AGX Outdoors. But again, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for asking questions. Dang, hit 2 deer at the same time. Yeah, the body shop guys for the car were like, "You're still standing here?" I said, "Yeah." Luckily, I closed my eyes and tucked my head at the last minute when the deer was in the air, hit the car. And the only thing I walked away from it, and I had to pull some glass shards out of my hands from the steering wheel because the sunroof shattered on top of me, and it was messed up. It looked like a wrecking ball hit the car. That's what it literally looked like somebody dropped a wrecking ball on top of the car. And when I raised my head up, my head was touching the visor because it was crushed down. And this is from my head being at the middle of the steering wheel. Like, I wish I could share pictures on the chat here because you'd be like, how did you walk away from that? My wife was more upset than I was.
Oh, yeah.
But I hope to see you guys on the next one. Thanks again, and thanks for the support, and thanks for watching. And I hope I've been doing my best with the videos, and I hope they've been entertaining. I know with doing videos like that back to back to back, it's different, but I'm trying to keep up, so I appreciate it. Thanks again.